This female Rottweiler named Dunker is not what you would expect. The huge German dog is the proud foster mother of 4 fox cubs. Dunker's owner was approached by the fire service of the small German town Hanya and asked if she could look after some kittens they had found when they cleared away the Easter bonfire. The kittens, however, soon turned out to be 4 fox cubs. These abandoned cubs have had a lucky break though. Dunker might not have had puppies of her own, but is an experienced foster mother. The previous autumn, Dunker had reared 12 kittens on her milk. She was able to look after the fox cubs after just 4 days. Dunker's owner, Regina Daum, had 2 terriers, and they had looked after the cubs before Dunker had taken them on as her own. The terriers, Emily and Dorothy, had their own puppies, and so had milk left over. The cubs and their new mother are all doing well. Regina will now have to decide how to continue caring for the cubs. She says she can't let them go back into the wild. Until that decision's made though, these fox cubs are happy enough being in the doghouse. Help has come for Donatella, an Asiatic black bear with an infected nose. Donatella is another animal in the Kabul Zoo to receive help from international veterinarians. On this occasion, Kabul Zoo was packed with families. It was a holiday in Afghanistan. And Donatella, the Asiatic black bear, was playing in her cage following an operation on her broken nose. Sadly, like most of the animals in the Kabul Zoo, Donatella was a victim of someone else's brutality. She was hit with a club in an attack that scraped the skin off her nose. British veterinarian John C.M. Lewis was sent by the World Wildlife Society for Animal Protection. He says it will take days before they can finally determine how to treat Donatella properly. Despite her condition though, Donatella was in a playful mood. Somebody had donated a volleyball, and Donatella was playing with it, demolishing it, which was fine because that's what bears do. Right now, Donatella's condition is stable, and the problem hasn't gotten any worse. She's taking drugs, which is the most important thing. During the Taliban regime, animals at Kabul Zoo suffered from poor nutrition and a lack of veterinary care. Surgeons say the long-term prognosis for Donatella is now very good. China's panda reserves are stepping up efforts to get pandas out of their cages and back into the wild. Flying Dragon, otherwise known as Long Tongue, is about to take its first tentative steps into the great outdoors. This cuddly panda has spent all its life behind bars, raised in captivity at a panda reserve in Sichuan. But China has launched an initiative to reintroduce pandas born in these reserves back into the wild. China's wild panda population is currently hovering at the dangerously low figure of about 1,000. In its first taste of the great outdoors, Flying Dragon looked like a total natural, bounding up trees, over rocks and happily chomping on young bamboo. Experts at the Wulong Panda Reserve say they're trying to bring pandas out of captivity to familiarise themselves with the open and wild environment. Pandas are one of the world's most endangered species, threatened by human poaching, rapid development, and the panda's notoriously low libido. Researchers are hoping to extend this program if the pandas can adapt to the natural world. As for Flying Dragon, getting away from the confines of captivity appears to have been a joyful experience. But experts say that many pandas suffer acute culture shock when separated from their human friends. A troop of monkeys is raising havoc at a school in southern Thailand, snatching sandwiches and sweets right out of children's lunchboxes. Each day, the children are forced to guard their lunchboxes as dozens of hungry monkeys search the school grounds for food. No rubbish bin is left unturned as these primates go on their rampage. School principal Nakul Baibua says the monkeys often jump on the children and grab food right out of their hands. But he says it's always a playful exchange. They never physically attack the students, they just snatch their snacks and pickpocket. Locals say there are 3 main troops of monkeys, altogether about 200 primates in the area. Each troop seems to take turns at raiding the school. The situation has become so bad that wire mesh has been put up around the classroom windows and near the canteen. This hopefully will prevent the animals from getting inside, but the protection doesn't always work. The monkey's natural home is a nearby mangrove forest. It is slowly disappearing as the local community spreads out and settles the land. On the whole, there doesn't seem to be any hard feelings towards the monkeys. The children say their furry friends make life a little more fun at school. Officials at Jakarta's Raganan Zoo were showing off the latest additions to their tiger breeding program. 4 white Bengal tiger cubs. The proud parents were a gift from the Cincinnati Zoo way back in 1989, and since then, an effective captive breeding program has ensured the survival of these rare animals. There are presently 21 white tigers at the zoo. Raganan Zoo has also been successful in breeding Sumatran tigers who are under threat in Indonesia. The wild tiger populations have been decimated by poachers, lured by big money offered for tiger parts, supposedly containing aphrodisiac qualities. Zoo officials are continuing their breeding programs to encourage local visitors and enhance their exchange programs with international zoos. White tigers are a big favourite of the visitors to Raganan Zoo. But it isn't all smooth sailing. Some of the breeding pairs are getting old and in some cases, the mothers are not interested in rearing their cubs. But help is at hand in the form of Nurse Maman, who plays the part of substitute mother extraordinaire. He has been at the zoo for over 15 years and takes care of all the abandoned babies. His latest patient is Bella, who was abandoned by his mother and now relies on bottled milk and sleeps with Maman in the nursery. European capitals have become understandably wary of hosting summits. But at this event in Rome, it wasn't anti-capitalist activists that had everyone worried. It was the participants. Hordes of spiders, poisonous snakes, lizards and tropical frogs descended on a central hotel for Europe's largest reptile show. The pride of the 5,000 square metre trade and reptile exchange fair, Reptilia, was a show of 40 of the world's most dangerous snakes, including green mambas, cobras and rattlesnakes. One of the most fearsome is the green mamba, whose charms include the ability to kill a victim within 30 minutes with its nervous system numbing white venom. However, this is not something which appeared to bother its handler, Fabrizio. The Special Congress has overjoyed reptile lovers, estimated to be around 1 million in Italy, as well as animal enthusiasts in general. Spider lover Stefano, who bought 3 of the 8-legged creatures, said that these strange types of pets were more appealing than the average pet. Stefano says these animals are small and easier to look after than a dog. And under certain aspects, they are cleaner and more interesting. While many people might find the idea of a reptile pet repulsive, Sarah from Milan said although they weren't her favourite type of animal, she thought they had their own appeal. You can hold them in your hand. They're smooth. Sarah, though, prefers ferrets. And curiosity even got the better of many children who were anxious to touch and learn about the animals. The fair aimed to promote knowledge about reptiles and the proper care of these creatures, with the majority of the animals bred in captivity and not taken from the wild. People were also invited to bring their own animals, many of which were bred at home. They are encouraged to exchange them with other people, giving special emphasis to discouraging the illegal importation of exotic animals. A 42-year-old elephant with dry skin has been saved from a wrinkly old age. Wendy, Bristol Zoo's only elephant, is being treated daily with free moisturising cream, causing somewhat of a spectacle for the zoo's visitors. Wendy is Bristol Zoo's only elephant. She came from Thailand when she was only 1 year old. Now she's an old lady and not quite as healthy as she could be. Wendy was diagnosed with hyperkeratosis, and vets were worried that the condition was preventing her skin from maturing properly and inhibiting hair growth. They contacted Stifel Laboratories for supplies of a specially formulated moisturizing lotion called Oilatum. Oilatum is regularly prescribed by dermatologists for people with skin complaints, but had never before been used on animals, let alone elephants. The zoo's vet, Sharon Redrobe, prepared the solution for Wendy daily by diluting Oilatum with water. Wendy's keepers then spray the solution on her. Because of her size, Wendy needs large amounts of the solution and apparently enjoys the extra attention. And the treatment seems to be working. Wendy's skin condition has improved enormously. Stifel Laboratories, that make Oilatum, is excited about the success of their product on an elephant. They frequently visit Wendy to check up on her progress. And Wendy needn't worry that they run out of supplies. They're willing to supply her well into her old age. A young giraffe in Japan has gained a new lease of life thanks to his devoted keepers and an artificial leg. Keepers at Omoriyama Zoo in Akita City, some 450 kilometers north of Tokyo, actually feared for the life of 9-month-old Teo-san after he fell and broke his right foreleg. He'd had a run-in with a rather rowdy zebra. The limb was promptly placed in a cast, but he'd showed no signs of necrosis or tissue death, which threatened to lead to blood poisoning and take his little life. The zookeepers said they took pity on the baby giraffe and were convinced that he still had the will to live. Inspired by Teo's robust appetite, which indicated surprising strength, they took the unusual steps to save his life. Several weeks of experiments followed as the frantic keepers pondered what to do, constructing numerous prototype legs out of materials as varied as plastic water pipes to bamboo, before finally succeeding. Teo's leg was amputated in a 6-hour operation, a massive undertaking due both to his size and the physical delicacy of giraffes, which makes their care difficult. Even though Teo's only a child, he still weighs more than 200 kilograms and stands 2.8 meters tall. Teo was then fitted with a length of bamboo some 10 centimeters in diameter with the bottom of a rubber boot attached to prevent slips. The bamboo is held in place with duct tape and plaster. And Teo has recovered well, although he still favours his real leg. The long-term prognosis is far from clear, since keepers don't know what will happen as Teo grows bigger. A German zookeeper saved a baby tapir from certain death by giving it mouth-to-mouth resuscitation in Hanover Zoo. The keeper was present at the birth of the zoo's first baby tapir, a small animal related to the rhinoceros, which has a long, narrow snout and whose favourite food is bananas. Baby Carmina was born buttocks first and had breathed in fluid while still in her mother's womb, which left it in danger of suffocation. After cleaning the blood and slime from the tapir, the zookeeper held its mouth and gave it artificial respiration. The zoo says all keepers are trained to perform the kiss of life on their charges, but that it takes a strong nerve to do it, especially as many animals, including the tapir, can give a nasty bite. The zoo said the keeper who performed the operation, Dieter Schulte, had a tricky job as Carmina had very small lungs and it would therefore have been dangerous to blow into them too hard. Both Carmina and her mother Conchita are now in good health. Most fishermen view them as pests and a threat to the world's dwindling fish stocks. But if this project in Russia succeeds, the grey seal may soon become another of man's best friends. Here at this Marine Biological Academy, a grey seal swims back to the poolside carrying a section of plastic tubing. But Fila's not performing some trick for the benefit of a watching crowd. He's being trained as part of a revived project aimed at using seals in sea rescue and recovery operations. 4 of these seals are being trained at the Marine Biological Academy in a revival of an old Soviet-era project in which seals were to have been trained to help divers in marine rescue operations, as well as in repair of underwater pipelines. Staff at the marine facility believe these seals can be trained to help in such operations. It involves teaching them to recognize basic geometric shapes and signs, which they say may lead into more sophisticated recognition skills. As part of the training process, the seals are fitted with a special rescue harness to which equipment can be attached, or people can grab and hold onto in operations at sea. Marine biologists say the seals are physically capable and, if successfully trained, could help divers in deep-sea operations. The Soviet-era project to train seals was abandoned in the 1980s due to lack of funding, but it has been revived with the support of the Russian Navy